So I've been working with professional photography and photographers for 30 years, my 31st year. I started when I was 18, 19. I went to an art school called St Martin's in London, and I studied graphics because all I wanted to do when I was a kid, and when I was about 7, was design album covers. And I found out that the people who design album covers were called graphic designers. Then I found out that the best art school in the world was St Martin's. So I thought, well, I better go there then, because I want to do good album covers. So I went to St Martin's and I did graphics. You couldn't study photography in those days. We're talking post-punk, in central London, early 80s. But the year I was there were a whole load of really famous people in the same year that I was there. Jarvis Cocker was in my year, Miles Aldridge, John Galliano, Rufus Osbeck, a whole load of really, really famous creative people all in the same year. And what we realized, this kind of,
is that the one you want?
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks. What we realized was that being creative was all about being creative. It wasn't about doing what lecturers or teachers taught you, because I didn't have any lecturers or teachers. No one turned up. For 3 years, I didn't have any teaching. When I was 24, I became the art director of Elle magazine. I was quite young. Literally the day after I graduated from my degree, I became the art director of Elle. Which meant that I commissioned all the photographers I oversee, saw all the photography for the magazine. I designed the magazine, I designed the covers of the magazine, I did all of that. Loads of other stuff came from that, and I started to work a lot in the States, particularly in LA, working with famous celebrity Hollywood stars, art directing shoots for them. After that, because I was doing that kind of work in the early 90s, I was asked by Tatler magazine, by Condé Nast, who also owned Vogue and GQ, to go and be the art director of Tatler magazine, which meant I was the art director of Tatler magazine for 9 years, from 91 to 99. Then I became the creative director of the world for Getty Images. I oversaw 73 countries, all the photography that was produced, working with the photographers. So it was all areas of photography, from celebrities to food to sport, everything, to social reportage, working with a lot of the photographers that you guys study, people like Richard Avedon and Irving Penn and William Klein and Don McCullum and Bailey and on and on and on. And also giving young photographers, people like Graham Day and David Sims and Glenn Luxford, giving them their first jobs. So it was working with the greats of the last century and also working with photographers who were just at your age, because I was really young. So these people I was giving breaks to were the people who were in my age group. After that, I then became a professional photographer, won some awards, had some books published on my work, working for a lot of editorial and advertising clients like Vogue and Glamour and what have you. It's real creepy, and I have a tendency to move around.
Yeah, they are really creepy.
I said this place feels like a proper art school. It's nice to be in somewhere that feels grungy. Grungy is good. So I became that. Then I was creative director for all sorts of international brands. I went to rebuild a house in Mallorca, learned Mallorquin, came back, was creative director for Sotheby's, overseeing all their photography, so that's fine art and contemporary art photography. Then edited photography magazines, launched my own photography magazine, wrote 2 books on photography, and I remain a photographer. And I am now the senior lecturer of photography on the editorial and advertising photography degree at the University of Gloucestershire, which is why I come and do these kinds of talks to you kind of guys. So I'm involved in a lot of stuff, and I've been involved in photography for a very long time. But I still am. I'm still passionate about it. So everything I'm going to talk to you about today, or any things you want to ask me, they're coming from that background. Okay, so it's pretty broad. So you can ask me pretty much anything, and I'll have a go at answering. But before we start, which one is it? I'm looking at. Cool, thanks. So stick your hands in the air as if you just don't care. If you want to make money from photography, you're not bothered. Yeah, you know, pay the rent, maybe not. Okay, so the majority of you, okay, want to make money from photography. Yeah, we'll call that. Okay. I asked that question before I give every talk, and from September to December, it's a bit of a road trip. I go from college to college, from Scotland down to here to whatever, talking about this kind of thing. And every time I ask the question, everyone puts their hand up. Right? You all like the idea of earning your living from photography. Why wouldn't you? Do you want to chat? Yeah. So Chad's with you, I should say, actually. Do you guys know Chad? No?
We've heard of him.
You've heard of him? They're kind of like the Loch Ness Monster. You've heard of it, but you've never actually seen it.
A little bit like that.
A bit like that. Okay, so this is Chad, who's come with me kindly. Chad is a second year student on the course on which I lecture. And he was here, a year and a half ago, I suppose.
Yeah, a year and a half ago.
About a year and a half ago. Oh, let's go back. And I just thought it was, he very kindly set this up. I've interviewed some students from this course in previous years, and they've been really good. And I could tell it was a good course. So if you guys are running the course, it's a really good course. And I wanted to come and talk to you about it, and I thought Chad was the perfect person to come because he can tell you the truth. Not that I won't tell you the truth.
Yeah.
So, professional photography. That's what we're talking about if you want to earn a living, okay? Who thinks they know how you earn money from being a photographer? Who's to put a hand up? Yeah.
I think it's basically you need to be prepared to work hard for yourself to get your work out there. Maybe do wedding photography.
Yeah.
Start off maybe shadowing another professional photographer.
Okay.
Learning your studio skills and making money doing things like weddings, portraits, pet portraits, that kind of thing to start with.
Yes and no. There's two areas of professional photography, as I perceive it, and I set it out. One is domestic professional, which is weddings and events and portrait and all that kind of stuff. The other is professional. The difference between the two is the client. What makes photography professional is the fact that you're not going to be paid to go off and take photographs of whatever you want, however you want to do them, whenever you want to do them, and hand them in whenever you want. That ain't going to happen. Okay? Professional photography is a business, and you will be working for clients. Okay? Domestic photography is working for people who don't commission photography as a profession. Okay? If you're doing weddings and all that kind of stuff, you will never go from that to being a professional photographer. You're in domestic. Nothing wrong with that at all. Perfectly okay. Good way of earning a living. Really, really tough. Because every single time you do a shoot for somebody who gets married, that's the last time they're going to ask you to take any pictures. Unless, like me, you get married a lot. But then I do my own wedding pictures, so I cut out the middleman. So, professional photography is working for people whose job it is to commission photography, like magazines, advertising agencies, design brands, working within contemporary art photography for exhibitions, for self-publishing and stuff. But first of all, has anybody ever heard me talk before? No ringers, good. Okay, I'm going to show you.
Would you like the lights on or lights off?
Oh, lights on, it's cool.
Lights on.
Yeah. I always say when people ask me to take a picture, I would take that picture if I was that good, not that good. So it's the same deal with these talks, I just do my best. Okay, so I'm going to show you a load of pictures apart from Chad. No one is allowed. Chad is allowed. You are allowed. I want you to tell me what links all the photographs I'm going to show you. Okay? And they're going to come at you real quick. And then we're going to go through them real quick. and then I'm going to ask, right? So you've got to pay attention. Is everybody ready? You won't see very much. Do you want to move? You don't want to move. Okay, you don't want to see. Okay, so, you ready? Everybody ready? Yeah, cool. Right, let's go. Right? Go for it again.
Yeah.
I should ask you, chat, see if you can get it right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask you guys to get ready. What links all of those pictures? Gentleman, who's either yawning or putting his hand up. Let's say he's putting his hand up.
Are they all photos that have been, the client has told them specifically what they want and they've gone out and taken it?
No.
It's a conversation been carefully thought about.
No. You're looking straight at me, that's always a good thing.
I was going to say advertising, but I didn't really know about that one.
No. Lady here with a blonde hair.
Not really sure. Like, they're all kind of things you see in magazines.
No.
Are we going to get the right answer at any point?
You might do. There was a guy who was a ringer. I did a talk at another college, and a guy just put his hand up and went, boom, gave the answer. And I was like, how do you do that? No one's ever done that. He went, yeah, I saw you the last talk. Thanks for that.
Are they all taken by the same person?
No. No. I mean, I could go through and name the name of these photographers, and they're all completely different photographers. Anyone going to have another go? Come on, someone could do it. Yeah, you. Don't know. They're all created by professional photographers. Every single image there was created and had a financial transaction occur due to that photography. But it's a massive spectrum of work. So if we go through that, you knew that, didn't you, Chad?
Yeah.
So you've got a fashion portrait, commissioned fashion image for a magazine. Got a skateboard picture. Could be in a magazine, could be an advert for a skateboard company, but it's been paid for by a photographer. Post-production, conceptual photography. Okay, it's another area. So every one of these areas are areas of food. It might be a book, it might be packaging, it might be in a magazine. It doesn't matter. It's all created by professional photographers. Makeup, still lifes, same deal. Interiors, social documentary, observational images, contemporary art photography, garden photography. You know, that picture was taken by the garden photographer of the year, who is obsessed with gardens. Of course he is, because that's what he documents. So all of these areas of photography are created by people who don't want to be a photographer because they want to be a photographer. It's because they're using photography to document their passions. You can't be a skateboard photographer unless you really know about skateboarding. You really need to know your stuff. Same situation with food. So all you guys here studying photography, you're not studying pressing a shutter. You're not studying focal lengths, which lens to use, what camera to use. That's fine. Right? But that's like being a boat builder and saying it's all about my hammer and nails. It isn't. It's about what you create with your hammer and nails. And that's the most important thing. Today, where it's changed from when I started 30 years ago, you're not actually learning how to take photographs. You're learning a language. It's a visual language. And you can use that visual language on multiple different platforms, in multiple different ways. Never been more exciting. You can use that visual language to tell stories that you are personally interested in. Does it sound like it's making sense, Jack? Okay, so for photographers to consider photography to be their profession, you've all said you want to earn money, you all dumped yourself in it from the beginning. How did I know that I had this lecture planned? because you all say the same thing. Okay? They need to have a client, an enabler, and an audience. And that's what makes the difference between taking photographs because you like taking pictures because it's a hobby, which is perfectly good. Hobbyists take it really seriously. Brilliant. But to earn money from it, you need a client. You need an audience. You need an enabler. And so you need to create images which are personal to you, that demonstrate to these three areas that you really know your stuff. So this is being filmed, isn't it? Okay, I'm really trying not to swear. Occasionally, I
It
swear.
does matter.
Okay. So, therefore, professional photography is all photography. Every single area is of photography. Anything you want to shoot, except landscapes. You'll never make any money from landscapes. Well, not chocolate box landscapes, is all photography that at some point exists within some form of commercial interaction. So if you were to say to your parents, I want to go and do a degree in photography, and they're like, why would you want to do that? You're not going to have a job, you're not going to have money, you need some security, you need to... Anybody heard that from their parents?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really kind of strong. Okay, just say to them, yeah, but every decision you make in your life, what you wear, what you eat, what films you watch, the house you buy, how you vote, the interiors of your houses, the products you buy, the music you listen to, the films you go and see, every single element, every decision, the reason your hair is green and you're wearing a hat is dictated by photography. And that photography is professional photography, it's commissioned photography, because it's photography that's been created to do exactly that thing. So actually, you're not doing a degree to go off and be a photographer. You're going off to be somebody who's actually going to have an effect on people's lives. And you're going to use visual language to have that effect. It's kind of exciting, isn't it? Not really, okay. So anyway, so how does it work? So, how it works is like this. You guys create a body of work, all right, that you are passionate about, that you are enthusiastic about, that tells, it's all about you. It's not about me, it's not about Chad. Every single one of you, I could give you the same cameras, I can ask you to photograph the same thing, and you would all do it in completely different ways. You would bring your life experience, your visual experience, to taking that photograph. That's what's exciting. That's the opportunity that is out there for you. Once you've got that body of work together, you will go and see clients. You will hope that people will see your work. Internationally, as a photographer, I only work for a couple of clients in this country. Most of my clients are in Spain, France, Russia, New York, but I live in Bristol. It doesn't matter where I live, I get to shoot for those clients. Okay, so I will have a professional website which will show my work. I will be engaged with social media professionally. I will be part of a community, and I will get recognized for my personality both online and in person through my photographs. Okay? So that's how it works, and then they would commission me, and then they will give me money, and I will not have to take the photograph they want me to take. This is a common misconception. Okay? Being commissioned doesn't mean that someone's going to say, put the light there, do this, take this picture in exactly that place, do exactly. That is a tiny part of being a professional photographer. It does happen, but basically the more money you get paid, the more you get that said to you. So if you want to work earn big shed loads of cash, then you're going to say, you know what, you can tell me what, I don't care. You want me to put it there? I'll put it there. For 25,000 quid a day, I'll do it. It's not a problem. And those kind of figures are real. However, you will be employed on a freelance basis, commissioned, to take photographs like the photographs you've taken. So the more they're true to who you are, the more chance you'll have of being asked to take pictures that you want to take in the way that you want to take. No one tells me how to take my pictures. They'll ring me up and they say, Grant, are you free next week to do da-da-da? Yeah, okay, we need a portrait, we need a cover, we need 6 pages. Fine, no problem. I go, client doesn't come on the shoot. I might work with hair and makeup, I might work with wardrobe, I might work on my own. But I'll just do the pictures, I'll edit the pictures, which means choosing the right one to use, not Photoshop. And then Photoshop is post-production, this is not editing. And then I will send the images to the client. If I've done what they've asked, if I've worked in the way in which I work, they'll pay me, and then the next time a job comes up, they'll say, hey Grant, are you free next Saturday? Yeah. Okay, that's how it works. And on that basis, I work around once or twice a week. On it. But I also learn. So that's how it works. That's not how it used to work. But you don't need to worry about that. Apart from the fact that, how many people here are thinking of going on to university to study photography? Yeah, okay. 2 key factors when choosing a university. This is outside of my role at the University of Gloucestershire. First question to ask, contact time. How much time am I actually going to spend being taught by a lecturer? Some courses in this country will give you half an hour a week. Some courses in this country will give you half an hour every 6 weeks. And I can tell you which, but I'm not allowed to. At the University of Gloucestershire, you'll get 2.5 days a week. That's the maximum you will get at any university. Okay, 2.5 days a week of contact time. So whatever course you're looking at, whatever university, ask about contact time. Of those 3 examples I've given you, they're all going to charge you 9,000 quid. Well, it's not cheaper just because you get less time, right? Second question you've got to ask is, who is going to teach me? Am I going to be taught by somebody who's involved in the industry, who knows how the industry works, or am I going to be taught by somebody who used to do it? Because it's changed. And it changes almost monthly. Almost monthly. Always changing. So you need to make sure, first of all, are the people, the lecturers, going to be teaching you, or will you be taught by technicians? There is one university I know that has 23 lecturers and has 22 technicians. And it's a university that you're probably looking at. Of those 23 lecturers, only 4 or 5 teach. The others are there for other reasons called research, which you don't need to get confused by. So you're taught by the technicians. But you might have gone there because, oh look, that famous photographer lectures there. But is he going to be lecturing you? Or is she going to be lecturing you? So you need to ask those questions. 3 years of your life. The other point you've got to bear in mind is, are the people going to teach me going to be able to answer the questions that I'm going to ask? Are they going to be able to give me the advice I need? If I think I want to be a fashion photographer and I want to shoot for Vogue, are there lecturers there who can give me that advice? If I want to be a sports photographer, is there someone there who can help me through that? Or do they have contacts? They're key questions when you're looking at a university course. Okay? So please, you don't have to come to the University of Gloucestershire. I'm not here to do a sales pitch, I'm to tell you what we do. But the most important thing, I have a daughter who left university, and I've got a daughter the same age as you going to university next September. I gave both of them the same advice. Okay, the first one made a good decision, and the second one hopefully will. Although she's a bit obsessed with who's got the best clubs in town. So, it changes all the time, so I wrote a book about it, but we don't need to worry about that unless you want to understand it a bit more. Just put my name into Amazon and it'll come up usually by the books. So what defines a professional photographer? Every single person can now take a good picture. It's almost impossible to take a bad picture. With your smart, I took a picture this morning on my phone. Probably one of the best pictures I've taken. Yeah, boom. Easy, no filters, done. Anyone can do that. So what is it that's going to make you stand out so people give you money to take photographs. There are two things. Consistency. Can you do it every single time? Every single time a client rings me up and says, can you take a picture of this person? I've got to come up with the image. No excuses. Not, oh, they were really difficult, or the light wasn't very good, or I wasn't feeling very good, and I had a bit of a hangover, or I got there late, and they wouldn't do what I wanted them. Yeah, no one gives them. Nobody cares. Nobody cares at all. Okay, I've got to consistently deliver every single time. The second part is the ability to tell stories. Can I create a series of images, a narrative? Can I create that visual narrative? That's really hard. And as Chad will tell you, it's really hard when you have to actually start doing it. Yeah?
Yeah.
Those two things are difficult to master. They're not impossible, but if they were easy, everyone would be doing it.
They sort of come with practice, finding the narrative.
Yeah. Now for the ad break. I wrote a book. Haha, it's another book. So what I realised, and I know this is a good course because I've interviewed students from this course. I know I've seen the workbooks, I've seen the portfolios. But I also know there's an awful lot of courses which aren't any good. A-levels, GCSE, A-levels, GCSEs, and diplomas and stuff. Okay. What I also realised was that very few students were coming onto degree courses understanding what professional photography was. So you were willing to say, here's £30,000, I'm going to come and spend 3 years of my life with you, but I don't really know why, which to me is nuts. So I wrote a book to help people actually understand it and understand why. And it was on the basis of these talks. This book only came out in August. So I recommend this book. The perfect Christmas gift. You don't even have to purchase it. In fact, I should have put some holly and an elf or something on there. So if you're sitting in this room thinking, who is this madman? All these things he's talking about make no sense to me. I've never understood any of this. None of this makes any sense. This is completely new. That's fine. Okay, that's a common experience because it's very rare for you guys to have an opportunity to actually think about it in this way. You're so busy doing your work, getting your work in, getting my exams because my exams matter, my grades matter. That it's kind of like, and I know this from my own kids. So let's go back a bit. So there's absolutely no reason to do a degree in photography. Nobody will ever ask you if you've got a degree in photography. Nobody will ever ask you what grade you got. No one cares in the world of professional photography. That's photographers, retouchers, maybe stylists, photo editors. You might be working with photography, you might be an archivist, you might be an agent. The transferable skills lead into all those different areas. But no one's ever going to ask you if you've got a degree. No one's ever going to ask you what grade you got. So why do one? Why spend the money and why spend the time if no one's going to ask you? And the reason is very simple. And this is what you need to think about before you choose which university you go to. Okay? It might be thinking, oh, I like the building, or I like the town, or I want to get away from mum and dad, or whatever it may be. That's all okay. But at the end of 3 years, you're still going to have the debt, and you're going to have to think, what did I do that for? Okay? This is the way to look at it. Look at a course and think, if I gave all of you £30,000 now, could you access the people who are teaching on that course, of that level of work and experience? Would I be able to access the visiting speakers that they have coming in? Would I be able to find out how this works? Would I be able to spend 3 years getting to a point that when I leave, I'm ready to work? I'm ready to be commissioned. Since I wrote this book and the previous book, I cannot tell you how many emails I get daily from students who've done their degrees, who've done master's degrees, who are just going halfway through their degrees saying, my course isn't telling me what it needs to tell me. I'm confused. I didn't find out how to actually make money out of this. I didn't understand how the business side works. Right? It was treated as an academic exercise. And what you guys have got to think about is at the end of this, do you want it to have been an academic exercise? Which is fine, which is not a problem. Or do you want at the end of it to be able to step straight out of the course and work? That's the key thing. Now, Ed and Ad, editorial and advertising photography, is all photography. All photography that you see on advertising, billboards, websites, television, magazines, newspapers, every type of packaging, every single type of photography that tries to get you to buy something is advertising. Make a note of this if you like what I'm saying. We ask you at interview these questions, and I'm now giving you the answers. I'm just saying, editorial photography is all photography that appears in magazines, newspapers, books, online, that has a narrative that accompanies text, that isn't paid for to specifically sell a product. Okay? Within those areas, you can also include contemporary art photography, social documentary photography. So it's basically all photography. And what we do is we give it a context, which basically means that photography you're doing, if you want to make, whoops, oh great, no, that's right. Oh, I should have got that one. Oh no, my memory. Whoops. We'll go back. All photography will tell you how you make money from. We'll tell you how you make money from that. We'll tell you where that sits within the professional world and context. So you can do on Ed and Ad anything you want. Any type of photography. We go from architecture to dogs to fashion to celebrity portraiture to food to everything. And Chad can, I'm going to break it. Chad can talk a little bit more about the course. But that's what we do. The key thing that we do is we say, what are your passions? What are you interested in outside of photography? It's why we have dance photographers, because we get quite a few girls who come up and say, well, I used to be in a dance thing, whatever. So we say, well, what about dance? That's why we get interiors photography, still life photographers, people interested in baking, so they end up being food photographers. At this, because it's focused on your passions, it basically means you get 3 years to explore, documenting the things you're most interested in. And then we put it in the context for you. You are taught by me, you're taught by 2 other lecturers, and we kind of know our stuff. We really do know our stuff. Oh, no, here goes again. There's only really 3 courses in the country that do anything similar to what we do. With that idea of being professional photographers. You'll have a lot of degrees out there which are called photography. Yeah, that's the generic. They tend to be less focused on outcome. Okay? We're called editorial and advertising photography because that is our focus. There are 2 others that are similar, but the ones that are similar are not as good. They're not taught by people who, anyway. What we do, I think, is really good, and we're recognised for it. This year, out of the students who left our course, 91% went straight into employment, straight from the course, within 6 months. Second year in Chad's year, he's currently in Iceland for a week shooting a fashion campaign. First year last year, Carly won Enemy Photographer of the Year. So from the first time you get with us, from first year onwards, We see you as young photographers, not students. We encourage you to go out, to work, to win competitions. You will be making films. We have moving image embedded in every year throughout all 3 years. So you're not just making stills, you're making films. Why? Because every camera you've got, and that camera there is a DSLR stills camera, and it shoots moving image. And so does your phone. So if that functionality is there to a stills photographer, why wouldn't you use it? Your creativity. And then the client is making a demand saying, we need you to shoot moving image. And we've got a student, Abby, who's just graduated this year. She won 2 film awards last year in the Food Photography of the Year Awards against professionals. With only the 2nd film she'd ever made. That's our approach. That's how we do it. So you've got lots of freedom to be creative. We harness it. We tell you how it's working. We tell you what you need to do. And you go off and do it. Tomorrow we have an open day. I know it's a bit late that it's tomorrow, but there is an open day. And an open day is a fantastic opportunity to go to the university and see what we do. We have 3 courses on photography. We have editorial and advertising photography. We have a generic photography. And we have photojournalism. Photojournalism is far more news-based. Photography is more fine art-based without the idea of necessarily earning a living from it. And then editorial and advertising incorporates all work, but with that focus of earning a living. So I focus this on ed and ad because every single time you'll put your hands up and say you want to earn money. So it's quite easy for me to do. So we do have an open day tomorrow. If you would like to go to that open day, it's at the University of Gloucestershire. We have a purpose-built campus. It costs £8 million a few years ago. We purpose-built 3 studios, daylight studios, 2 full-size studios, professional studios, with all the equipment, all the cameras. We have everything you need. But you can come along, you can hear a talk by Trudy, who's the course leader, and you can see what we do. If you want to do that, just let me know at the end of the talk, and I can give you the details you need. If you can't go tomorrow, but you still think, what he said sounds interesting, I'm more than happy to organise a group visit. You don't need to get your UCAS forms in until the 15th of January, whatever anybody tells you. And you can change your UCAS form as well if you've already written something down and you change your mind. We had a whole load of people last week saying, oh no, I'm going to such and such. They've been to one of our open days and now they're saying, we want to come to you. We are already interviewing people for entry next September. In fact, on next Tuesday we're interviewing 17 people. We're the 2nd most successful course in the entire University of Gloucestershire. We have about 50 students. And we have around 200 people applying. Yeah, your eyes went up. But of that 200, we offer around 70 places. And then certain people don't come for different reasons, usually because of qualifications. They don't get the qualifications they need. But of that 50, 43 came to an open day. Or were at a talk like this. The rest of that 200 were people just applying and they've never ever been to see us. Then they turn up for interview, because we interview all 200 people, we interview every single person. And they think we're going to be like every other photo course. And they've got it wrong, because we're not like every other photo course. So they sit down and think, oh yeah, well, and we're like, well, no. We're looking for people who are passionate, enthusiastic, and excited, who want to make their living out of photography. That's what we're looking for. Okay? So by even being in this room this morning, if you like what I'm saying, you think, oh, that sounds like a good idea, then you've got a head start. Okay? You can look at our Tumblr page, which is updated every few days. It features student work, it features graduate work, and it features news and work by the lecturers. On that page, which is unigloss.ed&ad.tumblr.com, you will see that there's a tag. You can read about all the lecturers, you can read about what we've done, what we're doing, what we've won, awards and what have you. You can also, every one of our students by the 8th of January, Chad, has to have a professional website up and running. So Chad's right in the middle of this at the minute. You have to do 5 days work experience as part of the course. All of that information is up there, so you can look at who we are, you can look at the students' work, you can look at the students' website, and you can look at the graduates' websites as well. So we're very open, you can find out everything you need there. Twitter is the principal form of communication for the world of photography. You have to be on Twitter. It isn't an issue, it isn't a decision. In the second year, not only do you have to be on Twitter, but I mark your Twitter account. Okay, so you were the one who did that. Oh no, look. So we ensure that your use of social media is professional, that you understand what you're doing, and it's marked, isn't it, Chad?
Yeah.
Poor old Chad's right in the middle of all of it. Yeah, it is.
You'd have to make it.
In the first year, you have to set up an Instagram account for one module, and your Instagram account is marked. Okay? So we are covering all areas. Also, just to say that in the first year, we take the first year, so you've only been with us 6 months, and we take you over to Shanghai in China, or to Vancouver in Canada, which is where we're going last year and we went this year, and you work on a live brief for a client. So that's included in previous years, Converse in China, Superdry, Specialized Bikes. Those companies actually give us all the stuff we need. They set a brief. You have 3 days in which to complete the brief. And at the end of the week, you have an exhibition in the gallery in downtown Vancouver. You were in Vancouver, weren't you?
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
wondering, yeah. It was great.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
So you get to go to Vancouver, you work with students in Canada. That was for Lululemon, who's a yoga brand of clothing. So we do all of that kind of stuff as well. So all the way through the course, you're working on live briefs, you're working with actual clients, and you're doing that stuff. I've talked for a long time. Do please tweet us. If you like what I'm saying this morning, then tweet. I'll tweet you back. Get involved with Twitter. And you can go to gloss.ac.uk. You go on the website page, and you can find out more about the course. You can watch a little film about one of our graduates from a year and a half ago. Kasia, 2 years ago? No, last year she graduated. Yeah, last year. She's already working for John Lewis, and she's shooting for Waitrose, she shoots interiors, she shoots portraits, and she makes films and so forth. So you can see a little film of Kasia talking about her experiences on the course and what she's achieved. That's a bit from me. I think